Hello, I'm Steve Evans, one of the directors of Accountests, and in this video we're going to run through interpreting your Logiks report. So, you probably have your candidates' logic reports in front of you, or you've downloaded a sample report from our website. If you have neither, that's no problem at all, as we're going to run through interpreting a sample report on screen in this video. So first up, Logiks has been designed to be readily interpreted by you, but most clients want some guidance and pointers while they get started with critical reasoning testing when they're adding it to their hiring process, and this video is going to do just that. So first up, you just need to keep in mind that your candidate scores have been compared against a norm group of 110 international accountants, managers, graduates and professionals. So if we just scroll on down to page 3, you can be able to see that your candidates' test scores are displayed against two scales. The top scale is a 1 to 100 percentile scale that ranks your candidate's performance directly against the norm group. The 72nd percentile score means we would expect this candidate to get a better or an equal score than 71 in 100 accountants, managers, professionals and graduates. You can see that there's also a 10-point scale called a STEN score. A STEN scale is a standardized measure of your candidate score, where scores of 5 and 6 represent an average score in relation to the norm group, with scores of 8 to 10 representing high performance, scores of 1 to 3 poor performance, and shoulder scores of 4 and 7 representing slightly below and slightly above average scores respectively. On page 3 of this example, the candidate has a slightly above average score, average total score, with average speed and average accuracy. So the candidate score is displayed by the blue bars, with their percentile score displayed first and their STEN score in brackets to the right. If you just scroll on over to page 4, you can see that the candidate has an average verbal and numerical critical reasoning ability and slightly above abstract reasoning ability. So what does that actually mean when we translate it into a work environment? Achieving an average score in the critical verbal reasoning test suggests that this candidate will be as effective as most managers, graduates and professionals when assessing complex text, picking out salient points and determining between true and false information or strong from weak arguments. Similarly, they are likely to be as effective as most of this norm group at making sense of data and turning it into useful management information by spotting trends, outliers and making calculations and observations. Their slightly above abstract reasoning score suggests they are likely to be slightly more effective than most of the norm group in grasping new concepts outside of their previous experience, seeing patterns in workflows, and be a notably worthwhile recipient of the time, money and efforts investing in their training and development. If you scroll on down to the back page, you could just get a view of how many questions your candidate attempted, omitted, got correct and incorrect. However, I just want to emphasize the point that the comparative STEN and percentile scores on the previous page are by far the most valuable to interpret this report, as they are comparing your candidate against the likely applicant pool of other accountants, managers, professionals and graduates. So would you hire someone with scores like this? Let's get back up here. So if the rest of the selection process is looking positive, then average scores in a tough test like Logiks would typically result in a job offer, especially in a tight labour market where good candidates are hard to find. So let's just finish up by looking at what low scores mean. Low scores in a verbal critical reasoning test run the risk of candidates struggling to comprehend complex text or spoken information. In an accounting setting, they may miss vital information and struggle to distinguish true from false information or see relationships between differing pieces of written or spoken information. Low scores in the numerical critical reasoning tests are likely to bring, it means the candidate is less likely to bring raw data to life by turning it into meaningful accounting information, by spotting trends, outliers and making fast and accurate calculations, which in turn runs the risk of numerical errors or omissions. And then lastly, low scores in the abstract reasoning tests are less likely to grasp new concepts outside of their previous experience. They're also less likely to comprehend abstract concepts such as workflows and be less likely to be worthwhile recipients of the time, money and effort invested in their training and development. When faced with otherwise strong candidates who have low abstract reasoning test scores, it's recommended that if you hire them, you ensure that their training is highly structured and instructional in nature rather than putting them in front of self-directed learning. So look, that's about it for interpreting Logiks test scores. So in summary, just remember this is a tough test measured against a norm group of accountants, professionals, managers and graduates, so not for use on processing and bookkeeping type roles. Just focus your interpretation on your candidate's STEM scores in relation to that norm group, and the higher the score the better. Thanks for watching.